Hey, tell me if this sounds familiar. It's been a stressful week. You had back to back meetings, so many things to do, a work project that absolutely refused to end. And by Thursday night, you decided to cave. Or maybe you didn't decide, you just caved. You grabbed some sort of takeout or fast food because cooking just felt like climbing Mount Everest, just felt like the chore upon chores. Then you thought, well, great. I've already blown it. Might as well skip the gym and just start fresh Monday. It's just been one of those freaking weeks and I just can't. I just can't. Does that sound familiar? Who here has ever had a well, I blew it moment with their diet or their workouts? Go ahead and drop a me in the comments so that I know I'm not alone because I dang sure have been here and I know many of my clients have been here as well. So, what I want to do though is help you to see that you can overcome this sort of scenario and it doesn't have to leak into multiple days on end and one mess up, one bad decision doesn't have to turn into a whole week of bad decisions where by Monday, if you have the tenacity and the endurance and you have the wherewithal to get started again, if you're not trying to do it already having lost momentum. So, what I want you to do is to imagine your house, okay? One night you're too tired to clean up after dinner. That happens. I know I have been there. So, maybe there's dishes left in the sink, maybe some toys are scattered everywhere, laundry still sitting in the dryer. Is it really that big of a deal? No, not at all. You can clean it up tomorrow. The house is back to normal. Nobody's coming over between now and then. It's really not a big deal, right? But what happens if you say, forget it, and we just let that mess just pile up for days or weeks? Suddenly, you can't see the floor. That's one thing. The smell becomes questionable, and now you've got a real problem, okay? That's the difference between weather and climate, which is something that I've taught with my clients for, I don't know, the last dang near 15 years, okay? So the main thing is that one bad day of eating or skipping the gym, it's just weather, okay? Now I'm going to explain that here in a minute, but weather just happens, all right? It's just going to be like a passing storm that rolls through, something that might leave a little bit of damage. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's not the same as climate, okay? So if you let that mess stick around, now it becomes your climate or what we would call your new normal or what I typically call practice habits that don't actually serve your end goal. This is something that so many people have battled. And the thing of it is, we've all had that messy house moment, right? Mine, well, last weekend, I guess it was 2 weekends ago when Lauren was out of town, I had just a pile of things. And it wasn't like I was trying to be messy, but it was more just like some things I'll get to this tomorrow. Some things, it was just that prioritization for me where it just like if somebody would have come over, I wouldn't have been proud of how the house looked by any means. But this was weather and not a storm, okay? Is this making sense? Let me know in the comments below. So, what I want you to do is to shift the focus to what actually matters. So, the truth is that most people let small storms like a skipped workout or an unplanned meal turn into a full blown climate of, I'll just start over Monday. They just throw all caution to the wind. But here's the deal, okay? Your success is not about perfection, especially when it comes to fitness. I've been a fitness coach now for going on 20 years. And one of the things that I would say is most perplexing to people is when they see that I have bad days, I eat foods that they would consider to be off limits, I do things, or I don't necessarily skip a workout, but I'll move a workout. I do various things that most people would consider to be taboo, especially fellow fitness coaches and all of that, which is why I don't really hang out with too many fitness coaches. I want to be around people who are more like how I was growing up and how I've chosen to be. I fell into fitness out of insecurity. It was not something where I was like some jock where I was like, oh, this is the next thing. I want to be as fit as a fiddle and I'm going to make sure that I, do all this. And it was not like that whatsoever. It was more contemplative of considering the alternatives of where I was, low energy, insecurities, high body fat, low muscle tissue, feeling insecure versus what happens when you get yourself in shape and where you feel better, higher energy, more confidence, the whole nine yards, and you feel less socially awkward, at least in my case. And that was what was at stake for me. Okay. So the main thing is that this is really not about perfection, especially in what I teach in my programs. It's really about consistently cleaning up the mess before it spirals out of control. But we don't avoid every little mess. It's impossible to do, okay? So the next time that you miss a workout, or you eat off plan, or you eat something that doesn't fit the plan, which again, for my program, there is nothing that doesn't fit the plan. For my program, if you're doing something that is off plan, it just simply means that you spent more macros or food than what you had a daily budget for. And there's still workarounds for that, okay? So it's nothing really anything to freak out about, okay? So what I want you to remember is that one bad day is just weather. It doesn't define you. It doesn't define your habits. It doesn't mean you're starting over. It doesn't mean any of those things, okay? The fix is simple. You just reset. Pick up where you left off tomorrow, or if it was a bad meal, you go to the next meal later that night and you correct that meal. That's it. You don't beat yourself up. You don't make yourself struggle with guilt. You don't say nasty things about yourself. You don't do any of those things because you know that this is a drop in the bucket of the grand scheme of things if you're doing it the way that I teach in my Joyfully Fit 365 program. It's called Joyfully Fit 365 because A, you get fit joyfully. Well, how does that happen? Well, because you're not stressing about every little gosh dang thing that goes on and freaking out whenever you decide to have Burger King in the middle of the week or something. You simply decide what this means. What do I need to do to either counteract or to get back on track? And when you look at 365 days a year, Joyfully Fit 365, this is a lifelong process. I don't want you to be miserable. So many fitness coaches are going to tell you like, well, it's a lifestyle. You got to commit to it. And what they're wanting you to commit to is something that I'm not willing to commit to. I don't want to swear off fast food and diet soda or regular soda or wine or cookies for the rest of my life. And I don't want to live in the gym. I want to get fit with the minimal amount of effort that it takes. Now, I'm not talking about being lazy, but I'm saying like if I don't need to do 6 days a week, I don't want to do 6 days a week. If 4 days a week on my working out will get me there instead of 6, I want to do the 4. Is anybody else with me? Okay. We don't want to do more than what is necessary. We want to do the minimal. Why? It's not out of laziness. It's so that you can do the things that really matter in your life. And my whole thing, let's call it my notion, is that fitness should not be the center of your life, but it should amplify the quality of it. Okay. So the thing is that you don't want to wait for Monday. You want to, if you can, pick up where you left off. So if you can do that, if you stop letting the little storms throw you off track, you're going to stay on the path to results. And that's the key. So one storm doesn't define the climate. Miss today, tidy it up tomorrow. Keep going. So if this is clicking for you and you're ready for a simple plan to handle the storms before they mess up your progress, stay with me. I've got something for you. Okay. So if you're tired of letting those little storms derail your progress, I put together something that is going to change the game for you. It's called the Freedom Focus Fat Loss Blueprint, and it gives you 10 simple rules for losing weight and keeping it off without the rigid rules of perfection. So go ahead and click the link below. You're going to see that I'll put that in the comments for you here in just a moment. It might even be in the description box, and it'll help you to actually get started. You're going to learn things like, well, how to set up your fat loss zone so that you don't have to guess on your calories, or why protein and fiber, for example, are your best friends for fat loss, even during stressful weeks. So this is perfect for busy professionals who actually want to enjoy their life, family dinners and social events without feeling like they've just blown it every time that they want to live a little bit. Guys, I have ice cream, I have cookies, I enjoy buffalo chicken pizzas and real pizza and things like that. And I don't avoid all the things that you might think are necessary to avoid to get yourself in shape. Okay. One of the other things that this guide is going to help you with is how to track your progress without obsessing over the scale. You're going to see exactly why the scale actually means very minimal in the grand scheme of things. And I want you to see that, okay? I want you to see that so that you can be liberated from the things, the dieting, the rigidness, the rules, the grind, the hustle that most people get trapped in. And then they wonder why they keep on regaining the weight that they've lost over and over. Well, this is why. You're not doing it in a way that is sustainable for somebody who truly wants to enjoy their life. So for me, I used to avoid hanging out with other fitness coaches or other trainers, other nutritionists, because I felt like most of them didn't really get this freedom focus, area. For them, it was more like, oh, Well, I don't eat cereal. That's not I in fact, I'll distinctly say there was a time, I guess this would have been maybe back in like 2007, maybe 2005, good long while ago. And I remember this female trainer that I was working with, and I think I was eating Mr. Good Sense or something, and she was like, "Oh, you're so bad eating that," and it was a bacon chicken ranch sub with whole wheat bread, no bacon on it. And she was just like, oh boy, like I was just breaking every nutrition rule. And I thought, how sad that you can't even let yourself have a sandwich midweek whenever we work out like we do. And I'm in shape, you're in shape. Like, what a way to live. And she was so perplexed that I allowed myself more of that freedom, and yet I stayed in shape. So you can do it the old rigid way if you want to, but don't be surprised when you regain all that weight again, because you're going to be staring at somebody else eating foods that you wish you can have. That was me forever. Okay. So what I want you to do is to go ahead and click the link in either the bio or click below in the description. And or you can drop the word blueprint in the comments and I'll send it to you. It's totally free. I promise you it will help you. It is there are 10 rules that are must-know rules that are very simple, that eliminate the rigidness in your life to get fit, okay? So I put a lot of work into this, and it's really helped a lot of people. I really think that it'll benefit you as well. So what I want you to do is to remember this. One storm doesn't change the climate, okay? Remember that storm versus climate. Storm is a rolling weather coming through, or I'm sorry, weather is a rolling storm coming through that might do a little bit of damage, and you don't want to stick around, but it's not going to do much unless you let it, okay? Now, climate is where, again, you've kind of settled into that bad behavior, and you're kind of making your peace with that storm wrecking everything, and you're not really chasing the storm away. That's what we want to avoid, okay? So what I want you to do is to know that one storm doesn't change the climate, a little bit of weather doesn't dictate your climate, and you're in control of what happens next. But the key is you've got to be focused on the long-term pain versus pleasure, which I'm going to talk about on my next video lesson here, which should be most likely tomorrow. And you've got to make sure that you're focusing on the right things. If you're focusing on instant gratification, well, that I don't want to work out. It's not going to feel good right now. Well, I want the results right now. And if it's not quick enough, then I'm going to get flustered and frustrated, and I'm going to throw in the towel. It's all because you're focused on instant gratification, okay? So if you're focusing on the long term, where you're going, I want to be fit, but I want to make sure that I do things in a way where I'm not miserable, and I'm not, missing out on family fun, and I'm eating foods that I enjoy. Do you really think that if you're able to do that and get fit, that you're going to be able to or need to cheat on that program or plan? No. I rarely, quote, cheat on what I do. And when I do, it's really just me having kind of that weather storm moment where I'm just like, I kind of throw caution to the wind for a day or for a meal, and then I get right back on it. And that's basically it. And it rarely happens other than high stress times or just really inconvenient scenarios, or where I just had poor planning, because I get pizza and fries and burgers and foods that I enjoy, and my workouts are pretty short and they work really well. I don't live in the gym. Basically about 2 to 4% of my day, 4 to 5 days a week, are spent in the gym. And for me, it's my basement most of the time. So there's nothing really for me to cheat on. It's basically just like make myself do a 30 to 40-minute workout today, and I get to eat the foods that I enjoy. Now, again, I'm going to do things like today we had chicken. It was a kind of a Parmesan encrusted garlic chicken. It was freaking delicious. And Lauren cooked some onions and potatoes with it in the oven. It was, I mean, gosh. But guys, what I love to share what I eat, because whenever I got this out, I'm thinking this is something that people would be happy eating at a barbecue. And I took my ketchup bottle and I, poured it all over and stuff. And it was delicious and fit my macros, fit my calories, tasted great, and supported all of my goals. Okay. That's the sort of thing that we teach in Joyfully Fit 365. Okay. So if you want to get a sample of that, if you want to get an idea of how to do this without being miserable, you got to download this blueprint. It's going to help you immensely. Plus, that blueprint is going to give you an opportunity to be on our Joyfully Fit Insiders Club newsletter. And you definitely want to be catching that, because that's where I share private special deals and discounts and just things that I don't share on here. So don't forget to do that. And let's see, there was one other thing that I want to make sure that I do. I got that note. Oh yeah. So Let me know in the comments also what's one little storm that you are wanting to clean up this week. Okay, I'm going to be cheering you on. No negative comments in there for other people. If somebody's struggling with something, then you encourage them, please. That's everybody needs that. And I just want to cultivate that, let's call it a community, if you will, that really supports one another and just gets rid of any sort of that negativity where people are beating up one another or saying, oh, all you got to do is this. I used to see that probably last year more than ever. Whenever I was going live more often, I would see somebody, and unfortunately, a lot of times it was somebody who might be fit, and they would come to the video or to the comments and go, all you got to do is move more and eat less. Thank you. If it were just that simple, I don't think I would have a business, and I don't think that any of you would be struggling with losing the weight and keeping it off. So what we want to do is disregard those sort of comments. Don't pay them any attention if we even get them, but hopefully we won't. So with that being said, let me know in the comments what's one little storm that you are cleaning up or focusing on cleaning up this week. We're going to be cheering you on. If you need a game plan to help you stay on track, you want to grab the Freedom Focus Fat Loss Blueprint. And again, you can just comment blueprint, or you can go ahead and click in the description box below. Thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns. Feel free to email me, any of that stuff. I love hearing from you guys, and I will teach. I will answer questions. I will make content for you. My job is to help people that are from 35 to 55, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, just depending, but primarily 35 to 55, people who have lost anywhere from 15 to 80, maybe even 90 pounds or 100, but they're not able to keep it off. And more than likely, they lost that weight. Maybe you lost that weight through ways that you're like, oh, don't make me do that again. So if you're tired of the Nutrisystem and the doing all the, the Weight Watchers and the stuff, like all the things where you're just like, just miserable trying to get things off, and it's not going to stay off, or you fear it won't, this is where I want to get you started. This blueprint will help you to get your mind right. But stay tuned also, because again, when you're on my newsletter, the Joyfully Fit Insider Club newsletter, you're going to be hearing so many different coaching lessons that I teach my clients who have lost and kept off weight over the last 20 years. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It seems like this one wasn't as laggy tonight. I chose to do 720p instead of 1080, and it seems like it helped. So thank you guys so much. I will catch you guys all on the next one. Have a great night.